Hey, good evening, everybody. It's your boy Eric Buckner. EB is in the building. And once again, we are here to do Get Off My Lawn Live. Get Off My Lawn Live. I'm your host, Eric Buckner. And this week, we will get into the usual trending topics. And we also have a few other things I want to discuss. Hopefully, you guys are having a good week. Should be a short week for a lot of you as we're getting into the holiday. Definitely got some thoughts in regards to that and everything else that's going on. So, without further ado, folks, let's get the show started. Let's get it cracking. Let's get to these discussions. So, first of all, folks, we will start with our trending topics of the week. Now, of course, we have gotten some good news the last couple days in terms of what's going on with the presidency. We now have gotten the official go ahead from the government to start the transition process for President elect Biden and his crew. So now they have the funding that they need to get the transition underway, and they're getting all the necessary materials and all the briefings and information they need to start the transition process. That is very important because it's just like, well, let's put it this way. Let's say you get hired for a job. And as most jobs go, you get hired, you are given someone to train you and prepare you for what the job entails, how to do the job, what things you need to know, the basic stuff like what's the codes to the door, where you hang up your clothes, all that good stuff. This transition thing is kind of a similar thing. Now, fortunately for Joe, he has been part of the White House staff, a part of the Senate, basically part of the government in general for the last 40 something years. So it doesn't put him extremely behind because he has a working understanding, but he, of course, needs to know what's going on a continuous basis. Because remember, everybody don't love America, okay? There's things going on, and he needs to have some knowledge of what that is before the job begins. And then, of course, there's the tradition that every presidency before this allowed this to happen immediately after the election, with the one exception, of course, of the year that President Bush and that situation. We all know what happened there. That took a while to figure out and what have you. And in the end, he won. So that was that. But anyway, we got that going on with the government now. So, of course, the president, the leader, whatever you choose to call him, I don't refer to that person by name. He still gets no respect from me, especially when you do stuff like you pulled today, when you have a press conference for about 65 seconds to announce that the stock market is at an all-time high, and you basically want people to know, yeah, I did that. But most of the economists and whatnot are saying because Joe is being allowed to do what he needs to do, that led to the confidence that people had in the stock market to boost up today's prices. Not what you did, sir. So, again, to the bitter end, not a good president, not a good person, not a good way to deal with this, even on your way out the door. It's a sad state of affairs. In other news today, of course, we still have the issue with the virus. Over 100 some thousand cases yet again today. Over 1,500 deaths. It's getting real bad out here, folks. It really is. And people, I still say the vast majority of us are taking it seriously, but there's still enough people out here that's not, that is causing this issue. And as people continue to push the envelope and see what they can open and where they can still go and what have you, these people, more so than any of us that's taking it seriously, are the people that is causing the virus to continue to spread and go farther than it really should go here in America. Of course, they're having these issues in other countries as well. But the thing is, out of all the countries in the world, who has the most cases right now reported? We do. Who has the most people dying right now? We do. And remember, these numbers truly are an estimate. For all the people that are getting tested, there's people out there that do not get tested. They're asymptomatic, so they feel no need to. They're scared to, whatever the case may be. So for whatever's being reported, add on to that. I'm not the only person that says that. A lot of the experts that deal with this on a daily and yearly basis are saying the same thing. These numbers are just an estimation of what the virus really is doing right now, how bad the situation really is. There's over 85,000 reported hospitalizations right now in the United States. That should be a concern to you because remember, we're talking about 85,000 people hospitalized from COVID alone. Hospitals aren't built just to deal with viral diseases. There's people out here who get hurt. It's wintertime, so there's people that have the flu, pneumonia, what have you. And these people are part of the hospitalizations that's not being counted. There's people out here who are having children who get injured at work and what have you. These people need hospitalization as well. So when these people come to the hospital and there's no room or beds available because everybody there has COVID, that's the issue. When these people go in with these illnesses and problems and then develop COVID from being in that environment of hospitals full of COVID, that's an issue. These are things we need to consider and think about when we have these discussions. Of course, let me get on here to the page to see if anybody's texting. As always, I encourage you to text any comments or any thoughts, anything you want to add to the conversation. We will gladly have you contribute in that regard. And we appreciate all your comments. Just remember, keep them respectful, okay? Now, for some of you who tuned in last night to my page, you saw that I wasn't doing my show. I was helping a friend of mine, their show, the Hey Bitcher show that comes on Monday at 9. They have some technical difficulties, so I offered my services to help out. And that turned out to be quite an event. We had a great conversation about many different topics that even strayed from what the original format was. And I thought we got a lot discussed and a lot of things put in the air. And hopefully I'll have a similar show like that this evening in regards to subjects. So like I said, I have my set list of what I want to talk about, but if in the end other things come up along the way and we end up straying into those discussions, that's fine by me. By all means, do that. And if you have people out there now that want to join any parts of this discussion, feel free to share it on your page or have a watch party and whatnot, and we can add them as well. So that being said, we're going to get back into the trending topics here. Now, of course, we have a third vaccine on the horizon. The AstraZeneca version of the vaccine is said to not be quite as effective as the original two. But the encouraging thing is that this particular vaccine seems to be easier to produce. There's less of a dosage you have to take, though you still have to take two, just like these other two vaccines. And you don't have to keep it in extreme temperatures like the other ones. They say in regards to how it's kept and how it's housed is similar to the flu vaccine in terms of production and how you keep it and what have you. So what they're saying is a good possibility that the majority of the people that get vaccinated might very well get this AstraZeneca vaccine because they're mass producing it faster than some of the other companies are right now. Now, of course, there's still that fourth outline one out there that's been talked about, the Johnson & Johnson one. And that's the one where you just get the one shot, the one dose. And we're still waiting on further results from that one. Hopefully we'll hear something about that sometime in the next 4 to 6 weeks and see where we go with that. So keep in mind, they're doing the implementation of the vaccines and what have you. There'll be 3 or 4 different ones. I assume they will let you know which one you are eligible to get or what one they have available when that time comes for you to consider getting it or not. Of course, I found it interesting that there was comments today in the Canadian news that basically the prime minister there says that they won't be getting people vaccinated to probably early next year because, of course, most of the companies that have the vaccines that are available now are American companies, and they're going to worry about America first and then deal with the other people later. I think it may start out that way, but remember, if Americans more or less are getting it paid for by the government, in essence, giving it to us free, these other countries, of course, are going to have to pay. And they probably will get charged considerably more for the vaccine than American people will, or maybe not. Who knows? But in the end, because they have to pay, that will be an issue. And then I'm concerned about, okay, the third world countries, they will need vaccinations too. You know they can't afford the type of money that the bigger nations have. So I wonder how that will be dealt with. That'll be interesting to see as time goes on. But anyway, the one is set to be approved basically by the 12th of next month, and they're supposed to start passing it out immediately after. So before Christmas, there should already be people receiving the vaccination, and for all intents and purposes, being part of the biggest experiment of all time in terms of vaccinations, because this is not a completely tested, properly tested vaccine. Um, I don't think it's in anybody's better interest to sit here and tell you, no, don't take that, whatnot. But of course, I got to put the facts out there and you make your decisions from that yourself. You do your research, as I always encourage you to do, and you figure out if it's in your better interest to take it now or sit back and wait to see how everybody else does. Keep in mind, they're not talking about the side effects, but the side effects are out there. It's the usual ones at this point that we know of. Basically, people are taking it. They're developing a fever, a little nauseous, headaches. They say it's not nothing major. It usually passes in a day or two after that second shot. But again, we'll have to see. Remember, 90% effectively means that it's 10% of people that they'll take it and not so good. So it may affect them worse. Those side effects may be worse, or they may be nothing because, again, it's simply not going to work for them for whatever reason. You might be one of the 10%, who knows, or the 5%, whatever the case may be. Discussions for another day, right? But anyway, let's move on. Okay, we also have a big recall. If you have a GMC vehicle, basically, I believe the frame was basically from 94 to 2010, I believe. I say you double check that. But basically, if you have a GMC SUV or truck somewhere in that 2015 range, and they have this particular airbag that was put in place in that vehicle, there's a recall on that vehicle. That basically accounts for over 6 million trucks and SUVs. And it said the cost to replace all those airbags is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 billion. And of course, GM was trying to urge the government to have them not do this because that's a lot of money they have to pay out to make it happen. But the government did the right thing, and now the recall is in effect. So if you have a GMC SUV or a GMC truck, regardless of what year, you might want to check to see if it's one of the vehicles that's being recalled right now. So look into that. Okay, also, yesterday was a historical event in the NFL. For the first time ever, there was an all-black refereeing crew. It's an all-black official crew in the NFL on Monday Night Football. So that means all the officials, the side judges, the back judges, the referee, everybody was all black for the first time ever. So that was a monumental moment, and congratulations to the NFL for making that happen. They do appear, at least, to be trying to do a better job of being diverse and understanding the plight and the needs of African Americans, blacks, whatever you choose to categorize yourself as. And hopefully they will continue to not just make that mouth service, but actually work towards that. So hopefully that will continue to go on, because of course there's still a lack of a lot of African American or black coaches, GMs, no owners. These things need to be worked on as time goes on as well. Hopefully that will continue to be in the forefront of their thoughts. Also yesterday, there is the former mayor of New York. He is the one and only black mayor that New York City ever had, David Dinkins. He died yesterday, age 93. He was New York's first black mayor from 1990 to 1993. And he did some things in the city, but of course, like most of these politicians, they look upon the one or two things that went wrong, and they define his career more so for that than the positive. Sadly, that's kind of how some of you guys view President-elect Biden right now. You don't look at some of the good things he accomplished in his years in Congress. You look at the one or two things that went awry and was dealt with wrongly, and that in turn are the things that you focus on. Not so good. But anyway, yeah, Mayor Dinkins, among some of the other accomplishments, when Nelson Mandela was freed in South Africa and toured the U.S., the first city that he visited was New York. And the person that hosted him was the mayor, David Dinkins. And keep in mind, interesting fact, David Dinkins won election in New York when he went against that guy, Rudy Giuliani, who eventually ran again years later and won over David Dinkins by about the same amount of votes that he lost the first time. So these are things I keep in mind because remember, it's being put out there now that the leader plans on running again in 2024. So, of course, they will definitely be looking at to anything that is viewed as bad for the country. And those will be the main talking points, I'm pretty sure, when that time comes 4 years from now. Not about what Joe will accomplish or hopes to accomplish, but what he didn't get done or what he did wrong. That's just the nature of politics, unfortunately. Okay, in other topic news, we have Barack Obama. His book, A Promised Land, is now available. It basically came out last week and already has sold well over 1 million copies in the United States alone. It's a hot book, 700 pages. I myself have it ordered and should be getting here any day now. And I'm looking forward to spending a little time this weekend checking some of it out. It's supposed to be one of 2 books that he has coming out. The other one to come out in 2021 in regard of his years leading up to the presidency, as well as his years as president. And of course, some of his things that went on after the fact. So I'm interested in getting into that and seeing what his thoughts about. They say he's very candid about a lot of things that went on. So I've read a couple of his previous books, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. So yeah, we got that going. And of course, we got other things going on in regards to the usual stuff. Coronavirus, of course. We're still talking about where's the stimulus relief fund? When is that going to happen? There's been a bit of a push to make that transpire because, of course, it ties into a lot of other things involving the relief. Because if they leave it as is, that means at the end of the year, pretty much every state is going to have issues with trying to pay people any unemployment at all, not just the extra 600 or 400, whatever the case may be, just a little bit that you do get from each state. Some states just not going to be able to pay that anymore or have to pay even less than they're already paying because they don't have the funding. Some states will have to start cutting into government officials and furloughing and laying off and perhaps firing some of them because they don't have the money that they need because they're not getting that help from the government. Keep in mind, there's a lot of people receiving food now from food banks. A lot of the funding that they're getting is from that CARES Act. So if that's not renewed or extended, a lot of those people won't be able to do what they need to do to help people during the winter months when things will really get kind of rough, particularly if you're not back at work or unable to work because things are shut down or we're still slowing things down as we try to implement the whole vaccine scenario. So, yeah, we definitely need Congress to come back from the holiday and get to work and make something happen, even if it's just a temporary. Because, yes, the issue is that, okay, Republicans just want a smaller package. The Democrats want a big package, basically to make up for all the months that nothing got done while they signed off on other things in the House of Representatives. It's still a big mess, but bottom line, we need some type of resolution because remember, basically the 15th, I believe, of December is when Congress is shutting it down for the rest of the year. So between now and then, we need something to happen. We, the people, need them to work toward the people that they work for, us, the people. So yeah, there's that. Now, anyway, that's it for the trending topics right now. Now we're going to get into the meat of the show. Some of the stuff I want to talk about today. First topic I'm going to get into is family traditions versus public health and safety. That is family traditions versus public health and safety. Now, I'm hoping that you guys are seeing and hearing me I'm getting no comments right now. So if you guys are there, by all means, comment, say hello, what have you. Let me know you're out there. Let me know you're listening. Let me know what you think about any of the stuff I'm talking about right now. So that being said, let's get into it. Okay, people, here's the deal. Today is Tuesday. The holiday is Thursday. As you know, all the people out there, the pundits, the scientists and whatnot, they are highly suggesting that we forego how we usually celebrate the holiday. In other words, instead of having that big traditional Thanksgiving dinner with all your family and friends and whatnot, 30, 40, 50 more people at the house, they're saying we need to cut it down this year because of the coronavirus pandemic. And we need to just have a small setting, just a few people at the house, nothing major. Cut down on how many people are out and about in your household. So, that being said, I feel like the majority of us are heeding that warning and are making our adjustments. But in the same token, we want to keep our family tradition. Some of these people have been having Thanksgiving dinner at their house for 20, 30, 50 years. And they look at it as, okay, pandemic be damned. We still going to do what we do. We still going to make this thing happen, okay? We still going to have our holiday. We still going to have the fam over. And we going to do it. And we're not going to worry about corona. We're going to pray it off. We're going to mask up whatever we need to do. But we still having our holiday dinner at Big Mama's house, at Auntie's house, whatever the case may be. Those people look at it as, I don't care about this. It's whatever. And then, of course, there's still a few people, the outliers, that still look at it as it's still a big host, a big deal over nothing, what have you. I even know of a family who basically look at it like, okay, we all done had COVID, so we're not going to worry about it because in the end, we done had it and we good now. We should have antibodies. Let's not worry about it. Keep in mind, I'm not a scientist, epidemiologist, and anything of that, so don't know if that's wise for them or not, if it's not an issue or not. I will leave that for smarter people than myself to figure out. But in the same token, what I'm saying is we see how this all has played out over the year. Let's review. Basically, they told us be leery on Memorial Day of making these large crowds hanging in big groups. People didn't listen. The numbers went up soon after. They said the same thing again, 4th of July. People didn't listen. Numbers went up. They said the same thing on Labor Day. People didn't listen. Numbers went up. And then, of course, there was the protests. That made the numbers go up. There were the anti-protests. That made the numbers go up. There was the rah-rah Trump rallies. That made the numbers go up. There was the reinstatement of live sports and having crowds at these sporting events. That has made the numbers go up. There has been people going to college, still doing their college thing as they normally do. That's made the numbers go up. Basically, all the warnings and signs and cautions that they've given out, CDC, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, whoever, people, some of us are listening, but it seems like there's a good amount of people that are not. And that is why the virus is where we are right now. They warned us that in the colder months to come, things would get worse. We need to be more careful, more diligent. And a lot of people just don't seem to be heeding that. Like I said, there's the people out here now, and it's a nice amount because remember, over 10 million people have contracted the virus at this point. That's a good 15 to 20%. That's a good 5 to 10%, I should say, of the country has had virus, has it at the moment, what have you. And the vast majority did not die, did not get very sick. They just had it for a couple of days and they moved on. So they basically figure, I done had it now. It's like chickenpox or whatever. Not going to worry about it. I'm good. I'm good to go. And keep in mind, they're doing studies on that now to see, okay, if you had the virus, the antibodies, how long do they last? Are they just as strong as when your body fought off the first time? Do we even have to worry about vaccinating these people that didn't had it already? Will they really need it? Will the vaccination not be as good as your natural body's fighting it off and what's going on with it now? Those are things that are still being studied and are not known. There's still a lot of unknowns, period, about this. So because we don't know that, I myself choose to err on the side of caution. I'm looking at it as, okay, folks, you say this, you guys should know better than me. I'm going to listen to you all and do that. Keep in mind, I'm not over the last several years having any large gatherings here in my household anyway. People know, yes, I am a cook, I am a caterer, and oftentimes I'm asked to do a little something for people during the holidays. And normally I do, and either charge or I don't, whatever the case may be. This year I have turned down several calls. No, not doing it. Don't want to risk your household, don't want to risk my household, but you come and pick it up or what have you. Is it being a little too cautious? Perhaps, perhaps. But in the same token, that's the way I personally feel about it. I feel like if you insist on having your family gathering, it could be a small one, but I myself look at it as, look, people, it's just one Thanksgiving, okay? Sometimes people miss Thanksgiving for a variety of different reasons. Can't get the time off. Got newborn. You name it. People decide, okay, well, this year we're not going to go. Why can't you look at it like that? Again, no good will come overall in the end of this because, yeah, there'll be some people, they will have their Thanksgiving. It'll be lovely. They'll eat good, leftovers. Everybody will be fine in a couple weeks. No problem. See, told y'all we could do it. But then it's going to be a lot of families. They're going to do this thing. And yeah, 2 to 14 incubation days later, y'all going to pop up with COVID. And I say y'all, as in more than one, because we've been seeing this story play out time and time again over the pandemic. People having these little small family gatherings, and they leading to widespread virus within that gathering. I said you can pretty much turn on any major news outlet any day, and they tell you about the weddings, the small birthday parties, the little backyard barbecues and all that led to widespread virus cases, the little situations that people have at their household that eventually leads to those people ending up with no person in the room not having the virus. They all got it. And then it leads to that sad story of, okay, this person died, and right behind them, that person died. And then you look at that same table months later, and half the people that sat there are no longer with us just because they felt the need to have to continue that tradition, the one that they couldn't give up, the one that they did not understand that because this pandemic is getting more serious by the day, it was not wise to have that event. So again, I'm not saying you're going to listen to me any more than any of the other people that know better, but I need you to really consider what you're doing when you're having these events on Thanksgiving. Continue to be cautious and careful. Remember, if you feel like you have to do these things and you got to keep some sense of sanity by living your life as you normally did, I suggest you be one of the first people that line up and try that vaccine. Because if you're willing to take this risk, you might as well take that one too. That's just my thoughts on it. And remember, the views and opinions are those of me, the host, Eric Buckner, not those of any of my Get Off My Lawn participants or any of those in my Nighthawk network. Those are just my thoughts. You have yours. And if you do have yours, as I say, put your comments out there. Let's discuss. Show is about 30 minutes in. Amazingly enough, no comments. Don't know if you guys are not tuning in, busy getting ready for the holiday, what have you. Or basically there's some issue with the yard. But if you're out there and you're listening, and just let me know, wave something. I see some of y'all have tuned in at some point in the broadcast. A couple of my cousins have joined on in. Hey, cousins, what's going on? Hugh Lee, I see that guy and check me out for a sec. I don't know if you guys are still with me or not, but if so, I thank you for joining the show. And like I said, feel free to comment as you like. Meanwhile, let's get into my next topic since nobody has nothing to say on that. Bottom line, folks, please be safe and careful. I appreciate it. Let's move on to our next subject here, shall we? All right, hold on there. Yeah, we got somebody tuning in. Hey, what's going on, friend Amy? How's it going? Good to hear from you this evening. We just got through talking about how that Facebook is being weird. Okay, maybe that's why I'm not getting any comments or anything. But yeah, I'm glad you are able to tune in. Like I said, we were talking about holiday traditions as opposed to the public safety. Are you having that big celebration or not at the house? Feel free to give me your comments, Amy, and anybody else that's out there listening. Meanwhile, I'm going to move on to my next subject here, which is the AMAs, the American Music Awards. Any of you guys check that out? Anybody look at that on Sunday? What are some of your thoughts? I'm going to give you some of mine. Basically, I checked out the majority of the show. Started out with Justin Bieber, and not young Justin Bieber. Basically, we getting a more mature, more focused Justin, I think. It's interesting. I heard his new song, and it basically goes deep into his thoughts about his life as a young superstar and how he's starting to feel a certain type of way. His music's starting to have a bit more passion, more feel to it. It's not that little kitty bop stuff that we're used to hearing from Justin over the years. I found it to be entertaining, and like I said, I like Mr. Bieber's music overall. Not so much his earlier work, a little bit too teeny bopper for me, but some of his latest stuff is, it's got some good pull to it. Okay, got Amy here in the comments. Amy is saying, I'm just going to see the parents for the holidays. They're in our circle of limited interactions. Okay, and that is fine. Like I said, if y'all usually interact on a regular basis, I have no issue with that. Like I said, if you are in a household and you have people that you deal with pretty much regularly regardless, and y'all have y'all celebration, okay, that's fine. Because in the end, if you're going to get the virus from them, at this point, you probably have or you probably will. I mean, one of my besties is handing out to, they're heading down south tomorrow to go hang out with her sister and that family. But in the end, it's just basically the sister's part of the family and her part of the family. So it won't be no more than 10 or 12 people. And like I said, they used to being around each other. They come back and forth all the time. So I don't have a big issue with that. But like I said, for these people that still planning these major celebrations, don't be surprised. You think that, okay, I'm going to go get tested beforehand and that should cover me. Remember, the incubation period on average, COVID-19 is 2 to 14 days. So just because you test negative today, that does not mean that by the time you get back home or a couple days after, you may be positive at that point. You may be carrying it as we speak. Okay, what we got, Amy? Amy saying Justin Bieber is going in a good direction musically, but he looks like a tool still. Like he's crashing in a New York loft in 1974 and is borrowing from his friend's uncle. That's a good one, Amy. Yeah, his overall look with all the tattoos and the rough hair and all that, the crazy mustache. I can kind of live without that. But yeah, that was that. Of course, the host of the show, the AMAs, was Taraji P. Henson. She, like myself, is in that club 50 this year. But unlike myself, she looks unbelievable for 50 years old. She is looking real good. Just as good, if not better, than when she was in Baby Boy and all that other stuff. She was awesome. And, she got her groove thing on, did some dancing. And overall, I felt like she did a pretty good job of hosting the show. I've definitely seen worse people in terms of that and doing the show. So, yeah, I liked her work on the AMAs. It was the usual suspects that showed up. J-Lo, always looking great, over 50, and she looks phenomenal. She is immortal. Yeah, she's saying that probably about both Taraji P and J-Lo. I agree. Also, there were other musical performances that I found interesting. I like how they do the mashup with people. The Katy Perry mashup with the country singer. I'm losing who that is at the moment, but that was a very good collaboration, I felt. Uh, and then, of course, there was the performance by The Weeknd, him and Kenny G. Shout out to Kenny G. Love that dude. So yeah, I like their collab and that whole scenario where they basically had him go out in Los Angeles and they did a live performance out there with the fireworks and everything. It was tremendous in terms of people not understanding what it technically takes to put that type of performance together. That in of itself was phenomenal. I mean, just the pyrotechnics and all that other stuff that went into just that part of the show alone, it was well done, very well done. And then, of course, there was a performance by Meg the Stallion and her new hit Body. My reaction as it went on was this. That was pretty much it. Because, okay, remember, people complained and was confused as to how they felt about when J-Lo and Shakira did the Super Bowl halftime show and the booty shaking and whatnot from that. This performance by Meg the Stallion on American Music Awards, it made that look like some kiddie stuff. She was shaking it and breaking it down, and it was like, wow. And I'm surprised they didn't edit out some of that or pan the camera to different places, but no, she was shaking it and wiggling it, and it was all going on. Okay, hold on. Yes, both. Yep. Okay. Hey, Pranitha, what's going on? You are so correct. I assume she's talking about what I'm saying about Meg and them. Yeah, she was working that thing. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. And then of course, there's always that part of the show in American Music Awards where they get to, saying who won what. And I go back to the Michael Jackson year. Basically, that year he won down there everything, and he should have. Then Lionel Richie won down there everything he should have. It was the year that Lauryn Hill was winning down there everything. Some of these other years in between and after that, you look at some of the awards and you'd be like, who? They won? Huh? Never heard of that. And keep in mind, my primary music that I like to listen to these days is top 40. The popular songs. So, the Taylor Swifts and the Justin Biebers and all that. I'm familiar with their work, but some of these other side people that came out and performed, and it was my first time hearing them and their music. It was kind of like, what is this old corny stuff? Now, for example, and people might take issue with me, but Billie Eilish. Now I know she has her own little stick and whatnot with the baggy clothes and the sounds and the soft singing. It played out good when she first came out. And I like a couple of her early songs, but some of this latest work, not so much. Kind of getting not so enthralled with all that. I mean, basically, she is one of those people right now that's out. It's her. It's let me see. People like her, BB Rexa, Palsy, they all kind of in that same box with me. I like it to a degree, but I can see where in a few years, if they don't switch up and kind of evolve, they gonna kind of be by the wayside. They'll be that on that 2010 tour. Remember these 3-4 hits? They kind of come off like that. I feel at some point you need to evolve your sound. You need to come up with different ways to sing it and do it and whatnot. I mean, I look at people like Meg Trainor and stuff, for instance. She started out with that kind of retro vibe, but her music has evolved since then. So, I'm hoping that Billy and some of these other folks will be able to do that as time goes on. I mean, even Meg, being a rapper, her music is starting to evolve from her initial stuff. Okay, hold on. Got some comments here, y'all. Megan Thee Stallion is so impressive lately. She caught flack for her protest performance on SNL, but was completely unapologetic, and I'm loving it. And I love that performance on SNL, by the way. I love what she did and what she represented with that. Those were both excellent performances that she did on Saturday Night Live. I agree. She said, I love Billie Eilish. Like I said, I don't not like her. It's just it's starting to wear on me just a bit. You need her to kind of switch it up a little bit. I can agree about evolving. Look at yeah, that's another good example, Amy. Lady Gaga, her music has evolved big time over the years. She pretty much doing it all. Hopefully, when this next album from Adele comes out, her music will evolve. Because granted, we love the big ballads and the pain and the suffering, but we also love some of her Could Have Had It All and some of those big hits as well. So hopefully we get a little bit of both when her album comes out sometime next year. So yeah, there was that. Another group that I find very intriguing, BTS, the Korean pop boy band group. It's like, that was the first time I actually sat down and saw a whole performance by them. I must admit, I kind of like those guys. I kind of get it. I'm not in that really age group in terms of their music. They kind of cater toward the little teen pops and whatnot. But I get why people dig them. They have that look that a little bit of something for everybody. It's probably the big fans of them. They had that one person in the group like, yeah, I love him. And even though, they sing part Korean, part American, so you don't understand, but it's all melodic and, it all got that groove, that dance vibe to it and whatnot. I can see why the kids like them. I can, I get it. They are the Beatles of this time. They are the One Direction, the New Edition, the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. They're that right now. So I get it. Do you know anything about K-pop? Not really. I know there's boy K-pop bands, there's girl K-pop bands. I've seen bits and pieces of a few of them, but BTS is the one that I'm most familiar with because those are the guys that you see everywhere. Okay, and he's saying my daughter loves that group. They can sing and dance. Yeah, they definitely put on a pretty good show. Like I said, I wouldn't be mad if somebody had an extra ticket and said I want to go out. I'd go check them out. Post-pandemic, of course. But yeah, like I said, I felt like they put on a good performance. I definitely like when BBD came out and did they old school stuff. Love BBD, love New Edition, always have, always will. So anytime they dust off the old suits and whatnot and do their thing, it's cool. Even some of their new stuff that they've done is pretty good. So shout out to them. What we didn't get a lot of is like part of the reason why I used to like watching the American Music Awards and the Grammys for that matter. They dig into all different genres of music, particularly those that you don't tend to see often. With some of the country performances, because if you're used to mainstream music, you don't see a lot of the country stuff if you're not into that world like that. But you like to see those particular artists. You see some of the hardcore rock bands sometimes. You see some of the gospel music when they perform it. They didn't quite do as much of that this year. I imagine because of the restrictions and having to get everybody tested and whatnot. Of course, they have the awards, and then of course they have the awards that they don't show during the broadcast. So, they of course sent the honors out to them. Grammys, by the way, are January 31st, I believe they said it's going to be this year. Looking forward to that. Keep in mind, I'm not into the music as much as I have been since COVID has started. Basically, I was traveling every day back and forth with the radio, so I knew what was out and what was hot at the time. Right now, not so much. Kind of been focused on other things and other projects, so not quite. I mean, I couldn't, normally I could tell you every week, this is the number one song right now in the country. Right now, don't know what it is. If you do, by all means, let me know. I can look it up, but right now I'm not really keeping up with it. Probably won't really until I get back out there like that. But like I said, overall, the AMAs was a pretty decent show. I liked it. Like I said, it's always good to see the top artists and what they're wearing and what they're looking like. Everybody look like they are doing well in their COVID highways. As they came out, they still got all the beautiful outfits and, they still can dance and sing pretty good. And they all working on projects. I'm interested to see what this project that Taylor Swift is working on with her remastering her old music and putting a new spin and whatnot, so she can get her rightful amount of money that she put into what that was about. Because in the end, she wrote the songs, she performed the songs, she should have the right to her masters, and there's all that big controversy about how that happened and what went on with that. A lot of these major groups are not getting the money that they rightfully deserve for their work, and hopefully, as time goes on, that will be resolved with several of them. Okay. Do you like Lil Baby? Lil Baby, all right with me, considering the time and place in the year and what counts for hip hop these days. He okay. I'm all right with it. Again, if I was given a ticket to go to that concert, maybe not so much. But if I was forced to go, I wouldn't have the worst time in the world either. I'd be all right. But okay, that's it for that. I do want to put something that I forgot to add to my list earlier that I want to discuss. This is something that I found out about today. I was watching my variety of different shows as I tend to do these days, and one of them was TMZ. And TMZ was reporting what had happened today with a person that we're all familiar with. That person is Dave Chappelle. Are you familiar with what happened? Well, as you know, Dave Chappelle was on Saturday Night Live a couple weeks ago. And, he had a great show as he always does. My personal opinion about Dave Chappelle, he is a comedy genius. That dude can do no wrong when he hits that microphone and talks about whatever he talks about. I'm there for it. Absolutely. He is by far at this point my favorite comedian out here in the world today, and maybe perhaps one of my favorites of all time for that matter. So that being said, what happened was soon after, or actually that same day they announced that Dave was going to be on Saturday Night Live, Netflix basically started airing the Chappelle Show. Now, we all know what Dave went through with the Chappelle Show and what happened there with him eventually leaving. He talks about that quite often in his comedy shows, particularly these last two ones that he did for Netflix. So what happened was Dave, after watching that be on Netflix, was upset about it. And he finally decided, hey, I'm going to go to them and tell them I don't like the fact that you guys are showing the Chappelle Show. And the reason why is because what he revealed, and keep in mind, he had a small comedy special on his hold on, I'm getting old, y'all. Forget stuff sometimes. I need to write all this stuff down. Okay, give me a minute. Instagram. Yes, on his Instagram page, there is like an 18-minute comedy. I mean, it's basically a mini comedy show. And he explains to people why he approached Netflix and basically told them, I don't like the fact that you are airing the Chappelle Show. Could you not do that? It hurts my feelings. And he explains in that 18 minutes on Instagram why that is. And I very much encourage you all to go check that out for yourself, because he explains it far better than I'm doing right now. And you completely get it at the end of the 18 minutes. And basically what he said, he approached them and said, look, I do not want you guys to air Chappelle Show anymore. They did not properly pay me for my work. And as a result, I feel some type of way. And you know what? They said, okay, Dave, that's how you feel? It's gone. So keep in mind, Sunday night when I couldn't sleep, I was watching Chappelle Show on Netflix. So when they announced that, I went on Netflix right at that moment, about 3 o'clock today. And sure enough, the Chappelle Show is gone from Netflix. All Dave's other specials, of course, are on there. And I encourage you, if you haven't seen them, watch them. They are not only hilarious, but they're very honest, entertaining, and it's just some brilliant work. Okay, hold on. Understandable. Dave Chappelle's incredible. I agree, Amy. He is awesome. When you're saying, what is his Instagram page? Basically, you just look up Dave Chappelle on Instagram. He will pop right on up, and it should be the latest thing that he posted. I believe he posted it like maybe 8 hours ago. So yeah, they took it off today, and that posted up today because basically the post reads, "This is why," flat out and to the point. This is why. And then you click on it. There's that 18-minute video. He explains why he felt some type of way about the whole scenario. Because keep in mind, we all know about how he got the $50 million offer to continue doing the Chappelle show, and he turned it down. And, he's explained over the years why he's done so. All right, we're starting to get some people in the house. What up, Coach V? I see that's you. What's going on, guy? We talking some David Chappelle right now. Basically, he explains that when they did the contract, he was a youngster. He was in dire straits in his life, and he needed that money, and it was good money, and they always saying it was a good contract, and it was to his benefit and all that, and he basically took them at his word, so he signed off on it. Nobody knew that Chappelle show was going to blow up like that. Keep in mind, to this day, most people started really watching Comedy Central once the Chappelle show was on there. And then Key and Peele and all that happened after the fact. And you know how you feel about that. Anyway, bottom line is he is not being properly compensated for Chappelle show. And he is now appealing to us, the public, to stop watching it. He's saying they did not pay me what I was worth to do that show. They did not properly compensate me. And I would appreciate it. You, the fans of me, the people that love and care about me, stop watching that show. Stop letting them make a profit off of it. Because bottom line, his thought is they're going to pay me for my work. They're going to pay me for Chappelle show. And until they do right by me, boycott that mess. And keep in mind, Netflix is not the only people showing reruns of the Chappelle show. HBO Max is as well. But of course, they're not taking it off of their platform, at least not at this time. But his whole thing is, before he pitched that show to Comedy Central, guess who he pitched it to first? HBO. Turned him down. But now they want to air the Chappelle show when it could have been their show to begin with. And the thing is, he is actually praising Netflix for listening to him and, considering his feelings and the fact that they have this collaboration. He's doing all this great work for Netflix. He appreciates that they took the time to consider his feelings and did that for him. Because keep in mind, I'm sure they wouldn't have done that for just anybody. But bottom line, when Dave Chappelle has a show on Netflix, a new special, just like him, Kevin Hart, a few other people, yeah, you tuning in. You're going to check it out. That's bringing people to the platform. Absolutely. Okay, hold on. He wasn't paid for what he's worth. Absolutely. He was not. They did not compensate that man. Keep in mind that $50 million, even that wasn't enough, considering what the Chappelle show did for Comedy Central. It's still a major player to this day because of Chappelle show and Key and Peele. I hope they got their money when Key and Peele did their show for them years. Okay, Coach V is saying they playing that Brother Bo, and the reason is because he talked the truth. That's right. And that's part of why I love his comedy so much, Coach V, because when he come on, he is unapologetically himself. He is saying what you want to hear. He also saying what you don't want to hear. He is letting you know, hey, this is what it is. This is how I feel about it. You do what you do. I feel like every time he has these, it's going to be a few people that be like, who does this dude think he is? I know when he was on Saturday Night Live a few weeks ago and he did that performance and his use of the N-word and all that, some people felt some type of way about it, clearly. But it all made sense. It all fit. It wasn't like just throwing it out there to throw it out there. That was him speaking to people in the manner of which he speaks. And either you accept it or you don't. All right, Princess Leia's in the house. What's up, Princess? How's it going tonight? I see you at work. All right. We know how that play out. Pop in and out when you can. It's all good. But yeah, bottom line is, I, again, encourage you to go to Instagram and look up Dave Chappelle and look at that special. I'm sure it'll probably be available on YouTube sometime tomorrow too, and see what he had to say about that. And bottom line is, I actually own the Chappelle Show DVDs, so I don't even need to go to Netflix to watch it. But because Dave put it the way he put it, they're gonna stay right there in my case, and I refuse to watch Am episode. And I must admit, I love Chappelle Show. Watch it over and over again, but I refuse to watch that mess until they pay that brother. So I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you, my man. Get your money. Get your damn money. He speaks his feelings. He absolutely does. And like I said, I love it. I love it. I love it. Because like I said, I'm sure he's leaving millions of dollars on the table to this day. And you know they still want that brother to do movies. And, you know, it's been a few people he said has approached him about doing the Chappelle Show or some version of it again. But remember, the thing is, he can't even call it the Chappelle Show at this point because Comedy Central and the contract they set up, they own the rights to that name. So even though the Chappelle Show is damn Dave Chappelle, he cannot call whatever show he does like that the Chappelle Show. They own the rights to that name. That's bull. And while we on the subject, let's switch it over to Nick Cannon. You know, right now he is in negotiations of trying to get the rights to his show back so that he can do it again himself, Wildin' Out. And in the end, if you do any version of Wildin' Out that don't involve Dave and pretty much all the major players that's on the show now, and particularly the 85 South boys, you know, Carlos Miller, Chico Bean, and DC Young Fly, they saying if Nick ain't involved, they don't want nothing to do with it. Straight on that. And if you watch Wildin' Out, if them four entities ain't a part of the show, that's entirely different, something else that I ain't trying to see. So yeah, y'all might have had issues with what Nick did in terms of what he said about the Jewish community and whatnot, and that's what led y'all to get rid of him or what have you. But in the end, that's his show. He came up with the concept. He the one that brought on all the hosts and the characters and whatnot. He the one that made that show what it was. It's not right for you to hold the rights to that. If you choose not to air it or choose not to be a part of it, that's one thing. But bottom line is y'all need to work that out and let Nick get his show back. And you definitely need to pay Dave Chappelle. Because whatever it was you owed him, you need to double that and then triple that and then get him his money. Because truth be told, that $50 million, they still was jipping that brother. Because I tell you what, one of the main reasons why I got cable when I got it at the time was because of Chappelle's show. I wanted to see it. So keep that in mind. That's good. He knows his worth and he is telling them the truth. Absolutely. So like I said, y'all check that on out. But okay, I'm about to get back to the rest of the show now. I definitely wanted to talk about that today though, because I completely agree with Dave. Pay that man his money. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Versuz battles. Now, as you all know, we had the battle last week, that Versuz battle between Young Jeezy and Gucci Mane. Now, me, myself, didn't care so much. Didn't watch it. I probably seen maybe a minute and a half of it, you know. I know enough to know that they had it at Magic City and Gucci had on Gucci and Jeezy had on something else, and they talked about the issues that they had. But here's the thing. I think my issue now is that this Versuz battle stuff then kind of lost its way. It's not quite in the spirit of how it was initially intended, I feel. Okay, got a couple comments. Hold on. They thought they could get over on him and he wasn't having it. Absolutely. Not at all. And he still ain't having it. And we shouldn't have it either. Like he said, he asking us not to watch it, not to tune in. I ain't. Until they pay that brother, Chappelle show just don't exist. But anyway, yeah, so here's my thing about the Versuz battles. Now, like I said, of course, we've had some good ones. You know, we had the one with Babyface and Teddy Riley. We had the one with Monica and Brandy. To this day, though, I still say the best one that we've had was the one with Patty and Gladys. And one of the main reasons why I like that one was they are friends in real life. It was not a battle. It was what I feel like the versus battle should be, a celebration of those people and their music. You know that saying where they say you need to give people their flowers while they still here? I feel like that's what the spirit of versus battle should be. It should be you having two people with similar music and, genres, eras, what have you, and they have a friendly battle. Okay, this hit versus that hit, but in the end, the winner should be us because we got to relive it with them as they talk about why those songs came to be, what was going on in their life at that point, what the song was about. We the winners because we get an inside view of that we would not have gotten, that would not even have come to be if there was not this pandemic. Because in the end, yeah, people have put out, okay, well, this person, oh yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Leah saying, yeah, the battle between Jill Scott and everybody, I almost forgot about that one. That was also a very good battle. I agree. Okay. They're saying she didn't like the versus battle. Now, are you saying you didn't like the one that just happened, or you don't like them in general? Because I've heard that from a couple people. They're not impressed by it. Like I said, the only one I've seen pretty much in its entirety was the Gladys and Patty one. All these other ones I might have tuned in a few days out, like I said. But as far as watching them live, I've seen very few of them live for any extended period. Just not all that impressed with it. Like I said, when it becomes mean-spirited, it becomes something to where we're just watching it and we waiting for a fight to jump off or some shade or some type of side comment to be said. I don't think we getting the real of what it's about. It should be about us celebrating these people's music. And like I said, I actually would like to see more people outside of the R&B and the hip hop genre do versus battle. I want to see some country artists do versus battle. I wouldn't even mind if they did different genres, period. If they did pop versus hip hop or country versus, gospel, whatever the case may be. I'd be cool with that. Okay, Leah saying, I was never really impressed with the versus battle concept. See what I'm saying? And you kind of feeling like me about that. Like I said, I think we take it out of what it should really be. It should be a celebration of these people's life and times and their music. Because in the end, some of the best versus battles we know are with artists that no longer are with us. Imagine, to this day, you already know for all the hoopla that all these battles have gotten, it's one battle to this day that will blow all of them out the water. And y'all all know what it is. Prince, Michael Jackson. If we could actually have done that versus battle, that would have blew up the internet. The world would have stopped. That would have tuned in millions and millions of people all over the world to see them too. And the crazy thing is people thought that over the years they hated each other, but they actually had love and respect for each other. They kind of teased each other and talked a little junk here and there, but they actually had mad respect. They talk about how when Michael Jackson died, Prince was just heartbroken. Said for weeks he wasn't trying to talk to nobody. He went to the, Paisley Park and was playing Michael Jackson music and was crying and all of that. Look at the documentary on YouTube where he talk about it. Him and Mike was cool. They had mad respect. But again, going back to the original subject, that versus battle, that's one I would have paid to see. That would have been a pay-per-view one. And definitely would have tuned in. Because in the end, they probably wouldn't even play the track. They would have went live all the way. Acapella, all that stuff. Imagine Prince playing all the instruments while he doing it and Michael still doing his dances and whatnot. That would have been off the chain. And there's still some battles out there I'm sure that people would like to see. I'd love to see Mary J. Blige do a versus battle with somebody. I don't know who. I wouldn't mind seeing Brian McKnight do one. Just a couple of people off the top of my head. And I'm sure everybody else got their choice. If you got some choices of who you would like to have seen do a versus battle or still do one, by all means, add that. But in the end, like I said, I feel like people are not looking at these things as they should. It should be people who are looking at this as, okay, I love that music. I love this music. And let's give these people their flowers. Because if you look in the comments, a lot of people are doing that. They're saying, I love this song. I love that song. This reminds me of this. It takes you back down memory. But they're giving these people their props. They're giving these people that love that, you don't oftentimes get to have any other way. Like I said, they have the concerts and 80,000 people screaming and I love you and all that. But it's different when you can see it on the screen and people that you don't even know are fans of yours are popping up. Just like when D Nice does his club quarantine and people from all different walks of life pop in the club and Michelle Obama and Oprah and all that. I'm like, yeah, I love this music. I love this song. The Versus battle kind of like that in a way, where people pop in like, yeah, I listened to you or I grew up with that. And they could look at it like, wow, I didn't know so-and-so and so-and-so like my music like that. I actually was a fan of theirs. Okay. All right, Coach Will is in the house. What up, Will? Will saying the Jeezy versus Gucci was the best because they both actually performed. Like I said, Will, I myself have not seen but like maybe a minute, a quick highlight of the battle. So I really don't know. Like I said, I haven't for the most part watched most of them. But when I do tune in or have seen the highlights or whatnot, that is my observations that, let's celebrate their music. Let's celebrate the fact that they are here with us and they put out this volume of work that we all appreciate years later. Those are the values, qualities I think that the versus battle should have been about. Not about, okay, what's about to happen when Gucci say this about killing Jeezy's people and all this other stuff. That's where it all went left for me. That's why I wasn't really trying to, be involved in that. Like I said, I've actually heard the interviews that Jeezy did before and after on Sway in the Morning and on the Breakfast Club when he talked about it. He enjoyed himself. He said that he feel like they are in a good place. I haven't heard anything from Gucci Mane since then. But there's talk that they might actually go on tour. I mean, they talking about Brandy and Monica might go on tour and what have you. Okay, hold on. Will is saying it was lit, 1.7 million the entire show. That's what's up. And it was all love. The show was good. So yeah, Will, he's in the music industry. He probably has a more polished opinion on this based on his understanding of the genre and what have you. Like I said, me myself, hip hop is hype. I agree, Will. Like I said, I like hip hop, but I like all types of music. And like I said, that's why I want to see the versus battles, if you want to call them battle, to evolve and expand to other genres of music besides just hip hop and R&B. That I feel would be good. Okay, we got some people chiming in what they want to see. The OJs and the Whispers would be a good versus battle. Absolutely. Yes, they would. I mean, the only thing is, of course, Eddie is no longer with us. I believe I had that correct. But we know Gerald no longer with us, but I do believe Eddie's no longer with us either. I'm not completely sure about that. I might be wrong about that. Correct me if I am, folks. But yeah, and of course, the other member of OJ is the younger guy, so it's not the original group. And then, of course, the Whisper. But like I said, their music, they both have big volumes of music to choose from. So I definitely think that would be a good battle. Absolutely. So if any of you other guys out there have some battles that you would like to see, by all means, add to the discussion, put them on out there. We will post that for you. But like I said, me myself, the versus battles, maybe I'll, they all pretty much backlogged on YouTube or Instagram. Maybe I'll check it out. Okay, yeah, Will is correct me. Eddie is still alive. Thank you, Will. Like I said, I don't, for some reason I'm thinking that he might not been. Perhaps he was sick or something at one point. I don't know. Like I said, I kind of get that mixed up, to be honest, sometimes about who's still with us and who's not. So when certain people, they pop up and it's like, this person did, I'm like, I thought they was already dead. Or, somebody that like, dang, I didn't even know they were still alive and that type of stuff. So, that's my thought on that one. I'm not keeping up with people. Okay, let's see. It was his nephew. Okay. Now, his nephew was the other one in that group, Levert. If I remember right, Levert, the group that the other son was in. I know he had, I want to say Sean Levert. I'm not sure. Again, I'm getting iffy on the details here because I know there was his son Gerald, and I know there was also the group Levert. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Will saying yeah, it was that one. Okay, so yeah, okay, I'm halfway right then. That's good. But okay, hold on. Uh, trouble with the baby. Okay, Amy, thanks for checking us out. Appreciate you. You have a good night now. Amy got to go, y'all. But okay, so yeah, that's what I got to say about the versus battle. If you got any additional comments or whatnot about it, feel free to post them. I'm moving on. Now, the next thing I want to have a discussion about why I am thankful for COVID-19. Why I am thankful for COVID-19. Now, hear me out. You're saying, okay, well, so many people have gotten sick and so many people are dying. Why could you possibly be thankful for COVID-19? Well, of course, this is Thanksgiving. And, you know, in a lot of families, the tradition is to have the dinner. And over the table, we talk about what we are thankful for. I'm telling you guys, I am personally thankful for COVID-19. And please allow me to explain why. I am thankful for COVID-19 for several reasons. One, before the pandemic, I was constantly working. I had 2 jobs and I was doing them every day, pretty much without rest, without day off, anything. So if I wasn't doing one job, I was doing the other job. And oftentimes I was doing both jobs the same day. And to be quite honest, I was tired. I must admit, I was tired. And for me, that's the issue because there was a point in time in my life when I was at a job. And for those of you who are tuning in and worked there with me at that point, I was working 80, 90, even as many as almost 100 hours a week at that one job. And I was working myself literally to death. It got to the point that one morning I woke up and I could barely move. The right side of my body, let me see. This is my right side here. So yeah, the right side of my body was getting numb. Basically, for one person, I was starting to have signs of a stroke. So I ended up driving myself to the hospital and almost crashed on the way there. Come to find out, I was probably about minutes away from having a stroke and got there just in the nick of time. And had pulled muscles in my right side, had issues with my chest, had a cracked rib, had all type of stuff going on that didn't even know and wouldn't even bother to check out if it had not been for that moment. But it was mainly because I was working. I was not addicted, but I pretty much was taking pain pills every single day. And when all was said and done, I had my follow-up doctor's appointment, and the doctor told me it happened to you just in time. If you had went to work that day, that probably been your last day doing anything, period. And if you don't change your lifestyle and how you doing what you're doing in 5 years, you probably not going to be here. I'm going to be very honest with you. Yes, even now I'm a big guy, but then I was bigger. I was more out of shape. I was in a very, very bad place. And the bottom line is I needed to slow down. Now, eventually I got back into working and I cut down my hours and whatnot. But as the years went on, other things happened. And at that point, before COVID, I was kind of in a bad place financially. I was slowly digging my way out. But in the same token, I was struggling a bit. So that's why I was working so much. And, you know, I wasn't able to go out and do things and all that good stuff. But my whole thing was, let me get this money. Let me get this work in. And then when the summer comes, I have time to start doing some of the things that I really want to do. But then COVID happened. And it's like I went from making over $1,000 a week to now I'm at home and both my jobs is gone. And what am I going to do? Like most Americans, well, I don't say most, but a vast amount of them, I didn't have no extra money for this. Little did I know it would go on this long and all this would happen. When it all started, they were just saying, shut it down for a few weeks, and then we'll start back up and we'll go from there. Nobody had any idea that this would be where we would be at now. But let me tell you something. This is why I'm thankful for COVID-19. First of all, yes, I got that rest. I feel so much better now. Physically, mentally. My body feels better. Basically, my legs would be so tired, I'd be so sleepy. And yes, I still have trouble sleeping. Those of y'all on my page, y'all know that. But I've always had that problem. It's just, it was getting worse. And here I was out here trying to do 2 jobs. One involved a lot of driving and whatnot. And I'm sitting here sleepy and slapping myself and drinking coffee, and don't really like coffee, but was trying to do anything to stay woke. And now I don't have that issue. Basically, I was forced to be in a position where, okay, now I only got so much money coming in. I need to sit down and figure out what to spend that money on wisely, because I don't know now how long this is going to go on. I need to start being more financially responsible. That's something at age 50 I should have been new, granted. But in the same token, I probably wouldn't have took the time to sit down and fully analyze it if it had not been for COVID-19. I got some of the bills paid off and off my back. I got my credit score back up. I got in a better place financially. And yeah, I've had a few struggles of late, but overall, everything is working out. I kind of worked out some of that issue. So next week, everything should be back on. And I got job interviews coming up, and I'll be back out there soon enough. So not worried about it. But in the same token, that's only part of why I'm thankful for COVID-19. Because what I'm really thankful for is this. It gave me the opportunity to view life from a different lens, okay? What it was, yeah, there were people in my life and we were friends and we would talk from time to time, but never really took the time to have discussions because I was on the go. When I wasn't working, I was home, I was eating, I was resting, what have you. House looked like holy hell. I know y'all see the background. Trust me, it could be a little neater. Yeah, I admit that. But it looked way better than that day, March 28th, when I had to shut it down. I've had time to work on the household. I've learned how to build things. I was never the greatest at the mechanical stuff, but I am a lot better now. I can take camera and span and look at all the stuff that's in my household now that I purchased and bought and had time to actually put up and fix. And it's a lot better place. You know, I was not working out like I wanted to. I've had time to do that now. I got my weight set. I got my bike. I'm getting my treadmill. You know, everything is good. Like I said, I'm going to pretty much get that gym up when I get back out here because I can work out here now and it's better for me. I actually am more committed to doing so. I actually do it on an everyday basis now. So yeah, there was a time in the pandemic where I had lost weight. Then it was time I gained it back. Now I'm losing it again. There's that. But ultimately, it's showing that as you look at the people that's dying of COVID, a lot of them have pre-existing conditions. One of the major ones, obesity, high blood pressure, what have you. So it forces you to look at it like, okay, let's deal with our health a little better, folks. Let's do that. And then, of course, me becoming 50 this year, you know, when you get to that milestone, you definitely start to look into the colonoscopies and things of that nature that you need to start having as you get older so you can check out what's going on your insides and what have you. So there's that. But the 2 main reasons why I'm thankful for COVID-19 is this. One, it gave me time to see what was really going on in my world. And I'm not just talking about the news and what happened with COVID and political unrest and social unrest and whatnot. I'm talking about the world around me. I got time to have those conversations with people that I wouldn't have took the time to have. I got time to go on their Facebook pages, to actually call them in person and have in-depth discussions. And of course, there's the people that I've met in this 8 months. Many of you that's on the page right now, you are people that I have just met in this time. And I'm getting to know you every day, and I'm learning from you, and you're learning from me, and it's a beautiful thing. I started not only my Get Off My Lawn audio podcast, but I started this podcast as well. And you know what? Every week it does a little better. I get a few more people listening. I get a few more people contributing in the comments and all that. And I really appreciate it. I like that we're having these forums and discussions and that I'm learning from you and you learning from me. It's a beautiful thing. But I don't know if that would have happened without COVID-19. Yeah, I always wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't take the time and invest the time into doing so until now. And I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad that that was made available to me by having this time to rest and be still and kind of figure things out. I learned that all people ain't inherently bad as I think in terms of some people. I learned that some people not quite as good as I thought they were. When I see how they deal with things in their lives, when I had these discussions and found out, wow, I didn't know you felt that way, or wow, that's how you feel, or man, you don't even know about that. It forced me to look at people for who they really are more so than I ever have in any time before. And for that, most of that was good. Okay, hold on. Got a comment here. I love that I can listen to you. Absolutely. I love that you're listening to me. And thank you for your comments. Thank you for your participation. Hopefully you're enjoying the show and you will continue to tune in. Because like I said, I got a lot of good shows playing. We'll talk about that a little bit near the end here. But the thing is, I wouldn't have took that time if not for COVID-19. People are kind of used to having discussions about what's wrong more so than what's right. At least as far as social media is concerned for the most part. When people post things, you tend to post more of the bad stuff than the good stuff. And we all don't do that, but a lot of people do. And the thing is, oftentimes when people post things, you wonder, did they really think about that before they posted it? Did they even look to see if that was true or not before they posted it? And yeah, we all might at some point been guilty of not doing our full research in regards to certain things that we post. But I like to think for the most part, we all are thoughtful people. And when we post things, we put a little, yeah, let me put that before we do it. But some people do not. It's family on here now that I found during the pandemic that I wouldn't have probably known they existed if I hadn't took the time. There's family on here, and I have to be honest, they're not even on here no more. I got rid of them from my page. Yeah, they still family, they still blood, and before that I will have love for them because they are human beings. I have love for them, but ultimately what I learned about them during this time, I don't ever want to be in their presence anymore. They have shown me who they really are, and I did not like who I saw. There are some of my exes who have been in contact with me, and it was good to hear from a few of them. Good to see that they still alive and well, but for the most part, they're my exes, and clearly, I know why. And none of that has changed. In fact, in a couple cases, it got worse. One of them I actually had to have a conversation with the other day, and it was not a nice one. I say, if you on here now, go away. You was off my page. I don't ever want to see or hear from you ever again. That's just the honest truth. Okay, hold on. You are so correct because the media will put fake things. And yeah, remember, folks, the media serves a purpose. And it's not always the purpose that you feel or they should be serving. Remember, they're going to post on most media websites or programming, what have you, the things that are going to catch your eye. the eye popping like, wow, that happened, that happened. The in between things and some of the things that we really should know, they don't dwell on as much. Let me give you an example. There are a few things during the pandemic that have been on the rise that have not been talked about nearly as much or at all. One of them I want to get into next week. Are y'all guys familiar with sex trafficking and how that works? Do you know there is an increase in people running away or basically disappearing since the pandemic? How often have you seen that in the news in the last few months? That this person is missing. And if you have seen it, you hear that they're missing. Do you hear about if they were found? If they're still looking for them? Did they come back? Because more times than not, of late, these people, they disappearing and they're not popping back up. They're not coming up dead. They're not coming up. They just not, they're gone. And nobody knows what happened to them. These people are ending up in places far away from where they disappeared from. And some of the things they're doing is not good, folks. And the thing is, it's not something they are in control of at this point. But yeah, that's not being discussed hardly at all in most of the news outlets. And that's just one of several things. The main things we've been focused on, of course, is the election and COVID and relief reform and the occasional, well, not the occasional, because it's happening all the time, the police brutality this week, that week, the shooting, that one, and so on and so forth. These are the things that the media has focused on more so than anything else this year. But there's still a lot of other stuff going on. For example, it's no relief fund right now. So a lot of people, they on their last. They show these lines today all across the country of people picking up food packages. It's people out here really struggling. But guess what? Before the pandemic, it was still a lot of people out here struggling. And it wasn't being reported like that. And it's not that we, the people, don't care, but in the same token, we don't care as much. For as many homeless and hungry people and people living in poverty out here in this city alone, you could have hours and hours worth of news footage on that every day, if that was what your station wanted to focus on. But in the end, that's why we have platforms like these where people like myself can come and have these discussions with you and put it out here and have you to think about it or consider what's going on beyond the realm of what's being reported in the regular news. That's why the other shows on my Get Off My Lawn information page I post, because we talk about a variety of different subjects and they are not necessarily the hot or trendy topics. We talk about some of the deep rooted issues that we have not only in the African American and Black community, but in the United States and the world in general, that we don't take the necessary time that we should to have these discussions. But going back to why I'm thankful for COVID-19 is I've had time to take a lot of these discussions. I've gotten to know my better friends very well. There's been a point in the pandemic when I sat down with some of my major friends, and we've had some very deep conversations that we never had before. I've gotten to know them on a level that's far greater, and I love them so much. And I've been able to take the time to tell you, yeah, I love you. This is why. I remember this, and this. I will never forget you did this, and this. If it was not for some of my friends, I would be in a lot worse place right now because I needed them. And when I needed them, they were there for me and vice versa. These are things I definitely will remember, not just after COVID, but the rest of my life. There are people that I've met doing this platform and checking in on some of the other shows that I feel will be friends for the rest of my life. That will be a part of my existence. I enjoy hearing from them. I enjoy seeing them in the comments now. I enjoy seeing them when we're checking out other shows on the Facebook and YouTube platform. Will Muhammad, perfect example. We have some disagreements here and there, but I love that brother Will. I learn more and more about him. I learn more and more from him every day. So yes, Will, I'm telling you, man to man, I appreciate you, bro. I love you. Coach V, that I'm getting to know. He a good dude. been through a lot, but you know, far deeper than what you initially may see or know. As I had these discussions with him, I appreciate him. Like I said, Parenthea, I've met you for a couple of days now and seen you on a couple of shows, but yeah, I'm liking a lot of what you talk about and how you think about things. There's people like that I would not have taken the time to get to know all of that. That wouldn't have happened because without COVID-19 for me. I've been back running the streets back and forth, trying to pay this bill, that bill. No total focus, no I have a plan, but plan was constantly changing, whatnot. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. I can sit here and tell you at 50, I'm very comfortable with the direction that my life is headed. I see what I want to work on, what I want to accomplish. I am more focused than I ever have been in my adult life in regards to that. And for that, more than anything else, is why I am thankful for COVID-19. And if you sit down and really think about it and you forget about some of the bad and kind of think about what you were able to accomplish in these months, sitting at home, taking the time to get to know stuff or do things that you weren't able to do any other way, then maybe you will be a little thankful for it as well. With that being said, folks, we are here at the 10 o'clock, and I am done with my discussion on my topic for the day. Thank you guys who joined the comments. Not quite as many comments. A couple people said there was some issue with the book. We'll have to see what happened there. Let's see what we got. Got another comment right quick. You discuss things that people need to be aware of. Absolutely. And we'll continue to do so. That is part of why I am on this platform, to have these discussions. Because like I said, there's a discussion we need to have about many things. When I say get off my lawn, I'm not saying it in terms of, okay, you on my nerves, you need to go on somewhere. I'm saying it as in, get off my lawn, not thinking right. Get off my lawn, not considering how life really works. Get off my lawn if you just here and you just choose to be alive as opposed to live. That you just basically breathe in air and you serve no meaningful purpose here in this life. That you're not trying to help nobody. All you care about is yourself. You think, as seemingly the president does, that it's all about me and that's that. Because like I said, I could be like he was during those months of the pandemic, and he was supposed to be having a press conference to fill us in on what's the latest on COVID-19 and what we're doing. And he basically used them as political rallies, as pulpits to spot off foolishness and crazy thoughts. Remember that guy? That guy that, as we are now 3 weeks into him not being reelected, comes on TV, spots off, I did this, and then runs off and hides without taking any questions from the press. The press that he would constantly be like, yeah, I'm giving you guys ratings and all that. But now you don't want to talk to nobody. Don't you find that interesting? Well, I can't vouch for that guy, but I can vouch for me. I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to learn. And actually, if you have things to teach, things to put out there, I'm looking to have more guests on the show. So if you know some people that have, in particular, these things, a small business that they want to promote, if they are a first responder, if they are a person of interest, a person that has something that we all can learn from, these are people I'm looking to have on future broadcasts. So if you know such a person, if you are such a person, by all means, hit me up on my Get Off My Lawn info page. Keep in mind, it is a private page, but if you go on Facebook and look up that icon you see there in the corner and you see the invite, go ahead and invite, and I will probably approve you because I pretty much approve everybody. But in the same token, if you're on the page and you're posting a bunch of mess and you having negative comments, you won't be on there long. We ain't got time for that, okay? We're here to have quality discussions. And whether you agree with my opinions or disagree, still respect my right to have them, and I will respect yours as well. Okay, hold on. Oh, the orange Oompa Loompa. Are we still talking about him? Well, for the time being, at least, Leah, we are. Because in the end, let's be honest. When he go away, he's still not going to go away. He's still going to have the Twitter page and still be tweeting. And the Anytime anything wrong go on, he's gonna be the first one on it, and they're gonna be posting. I just basically want him to pack his stuff, leave the White House, and January 20th go on down to Florida and just stay there and retire for real. You in your 70s, bruh. Go on ahead, wrap it up. Just chill. You got your money. You done been president. Rest on your laurels and enjoy the rest of your retirement years. No worries. Peace out. Good luck to you. But I really ain't trying to hear from you no more after that. My personal opinion. Okay, you are saying he didn't do anything. Kept talking about he won the election. He is going to run in 2024. And yeah, like I said, more than likely, either he is or one of them other Trumps will, and he'll have something to do with all that. And let's just kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. You know, let's just hope that Joe is in here and he actually going to do most of what he says and go from there. That's all we can say on that. But yeah, like I said, I'm about to wrap it up. But of course, before I do, I have to shout out the other people in my Nighthawk Network. Now, for those of you who don't know, my Nighthawk Network are the people whose podcast that I also listen to, contribute on from time to time, be in the comments, want to give them their props, and they do. Let me get one more comment. Yeah, and go play golf. Exactly. That part. But yeah, so like I said, I have my show, Get Off My Lawn Live, that I will do every Tuesday evenings. Sometimes I will do bonus episodes. Considering doing one tomorrow, some interest pop up in my head, or I hear from somebody and they want to do a little something, we could hook up. But outside of that, this week I'm done. After tomorrow, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my holiday. I know most of my broadcast partners, they are either doing their usual show or they taking the week off. So I will do that myself and take the rest of the week off as well. Like I said, some of those shows that I'm talking about is like, if you guys have seen Will in the comment there, he has his show. It is called Pure and Uncut Lions Football Talk with him and my guy, Coach V, if he's still listening and checking it out. Shout out to you, Coach V. Shout out to you, Will. Thanks for your input as always. Looking forward to the show this week. He had an excellent show last week. He had on offer Amy Camille Muhammad, and she has a book out. I got it ordered. According to Amazon, should be here tomorrow. Looking forward to reading some of that this weekend. He is going to have some other good guests on the show in the weeks to come. So I encourage you to check out his show, Pure and Uncut Lions Football Talk. It comes on Sundays, 12 p.m. on the Facebook. You can look up Will Muhammad or Vincent Fournier Bay, and it will be on their page. And also, if Will, you're still listening, you can put any additional information you'd like people to have on that. We also have my cousin, Dr. Marla Farsi. Her show is Monumental Moments in God's Word. It comes on Thursday nights. It's a Bible-based show. She has Bible lessons based on a couple scriptures and what have you. So, yeah, you might want to check it out. She also has some good gospel music playing. You'll like that. We got For Show Radio with my guy, me, also known as VL Martin, and the Cardinal Dave Bomar. Their show comes on pretty much on the weekends. I believe they will be back on the air Friday. I'm not sure what time. It varies. So if you go on my page and I get that information, I'll put it on there. We got Stan Mason behind the blue curtain. He is a former Waco officer that has a show with him and partners of his. Some of them former police, some of them present police, and other people in the public sector. They have a discussion on police topics and things from a police person's perspective. You'll find that show very interesting, I'm sure, if you check it out. They come on 11 a.m. Eastern. And we, of course, have Dish and Tea with Big Meech, Aunt Nikki, and Big Red. Their show comes on pretty much during the weekend, somewhere between 8 and 10 o'clock, depending on what's going on with the host. Right now, today, he is at the donut factory, as you call it, doing his day job. So he's not able to check me out at the moment. But if you are in the comments later on to check out the show, Meech, by all means, post your information, let people know about your show as well. And we also have my cousin's audio podcast, Girl Stop, with Elena Miller and her girl, Letitia Williams Howard. They've known each other for years. They talk about a lot of women's issues and things from a female perspective. I think you'll enjoy that show as well. And like I said, I'll probably be adding to my Nighthawk Network as time goes on. So feel free to check it out. Like I said, I will usually post them on my Get Off My Lawn information page for you to check out and see for yourself. But until that happens, and the next time I do a show, I will again say thank you to all. Thank you to all who will catch the rebroadcast. And if you got any comments, feel free to add them, and I will address them thusly as they are posted, and I check them out. But until next time we meet, people, please be safe. Have a great holiday. If you're going to have a large gathering, like I said, please be as careful as you can. If you're having a smile day, just be thankful. Like I said, even if you just got a pot pie or whatnot, be thankful you got that. Be happy with that, okay? It's all good. So until next time we meet, y'all, thank you yet again. This has been Get Off My Lawn Live. I am your host, Eric Buckner. I'm going to leave you guys with two things, actually. First of all, I've been working on making me a commercial, y'all. And I was supposed to play it sometime in the show, but I ain't think about it till just now. So, again, this is just a fledgling effort. I'm going to take the time to kind of work with my systems and clean it up and polish it up, make it a little better. But this is my initial commercial. So check it on out. Let me know what you think. Okay, we're back. Well, I don't know what you thought, but I'm gonna tell you what I thought. That was horrible. That ain't how I planned it at all. Don't know what happened there, folks. I had to apologize for that. Definitely got to work on that commercial. That didn't play right or none of that. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, okay, so I'm not even gonna attempt the second thing I was gonna try this evening. We're gonna kind of quit while we're ahead here. So until then, this has been Get Off My Lawn Live. I'm your host, Eric Buckner. Have a good holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. We will see you later. Peace out, y'all.